happy Friday, Sretan Pet Talk. I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia, and welcome, this is, I don't know. I'm going to try that again. This is 5 Question Friday, and every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, I answer 5 questions from people who have sent them in on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, expatincroa.com. Email, my consulting sessions, Cam's consulting sessions, and people write them down on paper airplane and throw them at me. So I am in Split right now. I think I got a little bit, I don't know, I think I may have misjudged the daylight. I am so disappointed that I now have to go back inside to do 5 questions every Friday because it's getting dark too early, and I was like, no! It's like super bright and sunshiny at 4:15. Maybe I can make it. It's a bit questionable, so it's very possible that this is going to turn into a ghost story at some point. So we will see. I am in front of the Graphic Design Gymnasium, which is one of the specialized high schools over in Split 3. I really love the neighborhood of Split 3. The architecture is one of a kind. Let's put it that way. So yeah, what happened this week? Oh, I've been super sick. I don't know if you can tell my voice. That did not stop me from working because I am a machine. So I just kept doing my thing anyways, amidst all of the that. I really should have brought water with me. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh yeah, I'm an insane person. What else? Yesterday, oh my goodness, really? This is gonna happen now? You know, I haven't been coughing at all. And now all of a sudden I am. Okay. I hope this goes away soon. We'll see. Oh. All right. I hope that's done now. Our newest colleague, Tamara, started yesterday. She is an executive assistant. She will be helping me conquer the world, making things happen. I'm so super excited about that. Monday, Daniela starts. She is our new copywriter and researcher, which is so exciting. We've been needing this for so long. And now she's joining us, and that is just, we could not be happier about both of them joining the team. Given that I don't know what's going on here, I'm going to dive into the questions, all right? I'm so glad you're all here and putting up with my coughing today. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so this first question was submitted through our 5 Question Friday form, and they asked to be anonymous, which is always an option. They said, if you have obtained permanent residence by family reunification and now are facing divorce with your Croatian spouse after you've obtained permanent residence, how does that affect you? Can you lose your permanent residence once it's obtained? This is a great question. We have not gotten it before. So I was really jazzed to see this come in. I mean, I'm not jazzed about their situation. I feel very sad that they're in that situation. I've been through a similar thing myself, and you know, it's not fun. It's not fun to go through divorce ever, especially when it is tied to your residence. And this is a really apropos question because I'm currently in conversations with a couple of our family law lawyers because I want to do a post about the rights of people who are married to Croatian and EU citizens, because if you are married to a Croatian or an EU citizen, you're a third country national, or you're in a common law relationship, you are in a position of weakness. You are. Especially if you're common law, because let's say that you guys have a fight or end your relationship, one call to MUP and you're gone. Like, you don't have any rights there. Now, if you're married, it takes a little bit longer, but still, you can lose your ability to live here, and that really sucks given that, you know, you come here, you build a life here, maybe you even have kids here. It can really put you in a precarious position. And I think that most of the time, people don't know what their rights are in those situations, so we are going to be writing about that extensively. But first I have to do our due diligence with the lawyers to get all the right information so that we can come out and present it to you. So, back to his question. He has permanent residence. He's facing a divorce with his spouse on who his permanent residence is based. Will he lose his permanent residence? No. Once you have permanent residence, you have it. The only way that you can lose it, I mean, of course, there's always extraordinary circumstances, but divorce is not one of them. The way that you would lose it is if you don't maintain your time here. So, as a third country national, you have to be in Croatia. Well, anyone who's living in Croatia who's not a Croatian has to stay in Croatia for a specific amount of time to maintain their residence, okay? But when you're a third country national, you have to be in the country more time than, say, like an EU citizen does. So, if you are on temporary residence, there's a certain amount of time you have to be in Croatia. If you're on permanent residence, there's a certain amount of time you need to be in Croatia. On permanent residence, you can be gone for, I think it's up to a year without losing your permanent residence. So, as long as that person maintains that, they're okay. Now, there's an extra piece of advice here that I want to give, and that is apply for citizenship as soon as possible. Because when you get permanent residence based on being married to a Croatian citizen, you can apply for citizenship immediately. Immediately. You do not have to wait. So in this case, I would recommend that this person does that before they lose the opportunity. Because once you're divorced, you don't have any rights anymore. Your rights are gone. So it's important to understand that. And on that note, if you have a spouse who's a Croatian and they die, your rights also go away. Now, there's so much to unpack here, so I don't want to go over all the things, but there's one extra thing I want to talk about, and that's autonomous stay. So, let's say that you're on temporary residence and you get a divorce or your spouse dies. Depending on how long you've been here, there is a mechanism in the law called autonomous stay that would allow you to preserve your right to temporary residence. But you have to be here, I think it's at least 3 years. That's how you get to have autonomous stay. But if you've been here less than 3 years, you gotta go. You don't have those rights. So this is a really important topic. If you have questions about this topic in particular that you would like to see us cover when we write this post about spouses of Croatians and EU citizens, then send us a DM and we will take into consideration as we do our research on this. Looks like we have a question from Lucas. My great-grandfather was born in Croatia and I have his birth certificate. What other documents should I gather to apply for citizenship? Oh, great question. We do have a guide based on descent that we can send you. If you send us a DM, we'd be more than happy to send it to you. I wish we could preserve these comments, but Instagram doesn't do that. So it will get rid of your comment as soon as we end this live. And that guide will have a full list of all of the documents that you need to get. You'll have to get all of the birth certificates that connect you to your great-grandfather. You'll have to get a background check. If you're married, you need to provide a marriage certificate. You'll have to prove that your great-grandfather permanently immigrated away from Croatia to go someplace else, and how they did it. And you'll also have to provide a biography that basically tells your story and that of your great-grandfather. So we go into all of that in much greater detail in this guide, so definitely DM us and we will send that over to you. Okay, so just wrapping up on this person's question. So we have a guide on citizenship for spouses because there are two methods. One is by descent. So Lucas, who we were just talking to, if he's married, then his spouse can also apply for citizenship by descent or by residence. So residence is exactly how it sounds. You've lived in Croatia for at least, well, if you're married to a Croatian citizen, you need to have temporary residence based on family reunification for at least 4 years. Then you can apply for permanent residence. And then once you have permanent residence, you can apply for citizenship. So we have a guide on those two scenarios. If you would like a guide, send us a DM. And then aside from that, if you need a divorce lawyer, we've got some great ones. So send us a message. We also have a guide on divorce. Actually, we have two guides on divorce on the site. One is for people with kids and one is for people without kids, because the procedure does vary. Okay. Next, we're going to go to another question from our 5-question Friday forum. This is Bisera. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's a really beautiful name. My husband and I have retired and wish to live in Croatia and our property in Orta Beach, which we used as a holiday home for the last 20 years. We are British citizens and plan to arrive in Croatia in April to apply for residence. We will bring all of the relevant documents, but wondering if a British criminal record has to be translated into Croatian. Okay, I'm going to boil this down. So they have a home in Orta Beach, which is on the Pelješac Peninsula, which is south, about 2 hours south of Split, 1 hour north of Dubrovnik. It's beautiful there. So they're British. They want to come there and apply for residence based on owning property, which is a residence program that Croatia does offer. It is not renewable, and if you want to apply for it a second time, you have to wait 6 months in between applications, all right? So they want to know, do they have to get their British criminal background check translated? Yes, yes you do. So there's only one exception when you don't have to have your background check translated into Croatian, and that is if you're a digital nomad. They will accept it in English. But you have to get the criminal background check, then you have to have the apostille, then you have it translated. And it's much easier to have it translated here in Croatia, and cheaper for that matter. So just do that here. But even if you're a digital nomad, you still have to have an apostille on it, or it has to be legalized depending on the country from where you got the background check. Okay, so we have a guide on how to get a background check, and we have more than 20 countries in that guide now that explains where you get the background checks for those different countries, as well as where you get them apostille or legalized for those countries. So if you'd like that, send us a DM. We also have a residence guide specifically for UK citizens, and we have a residence guide for people who are applying for residence based on owning property. So if you want any of those things, send us a message and say, hey, give me those things. We will. Okay? So next, this comes from Shelly, also on our 5-question Friday forum. If applying for Article 11 dual citizenship by descent, I know you have to apply from outside of Croatia. So can I apply at the Croatian embassy in Montenegro instead of doing it in the US? So you may have seen earlier this week, my colleague Cam did a video here on Instagram about applying for citizenship by descent. And one of the things she said was only residents of Croatia can apply for citizenship from within Croatia. Everybody else has to apply abroad at an embassy or consulate. So Shelly is clearly from the US, based on the context clues, but wants to know if she can apply for citizenship from Montenegro. Here's the thing. It's based on residence, and each consulate has like a district, and you have to live in that district. So usually, and this is not just Croatian embassies, I've seen this in a lot of embassies, you have to have residence in that country to go and use the services of that country. If it pertains to like residence or citizenship or something like that. So I've had some clients that wanted to apply for visas in Spain, in Portugal, in Germany, and they didn't want to go back to their home country, which was China or the Philippines or something like that. So they got residence in Croatia so that they could use the services of those respective consulates and embassies that were situated inside of Croatia. So if you're a resident in Montenegro, then yes, you can probably use that consulate. But if you're not a resident in Montenegro, then it's possible that they're going to say no, and that you have to go back to the US to apply. So that's something that you'll need to talk to that embassy about to see if they'll allow you to make that application. Because you have to keep in mind, a citizenship application when you're applying abroad is going to take at least 1 to 2 years. So that's why it's usually based on residence, because if you're not a resident in Montenegro, maybe you're not going to be there in 2 years. So it's important to understand that. Okay, so our next question comes from Diana here on Instagram. I'm coming over to look for property and wanted to ask about this. Some dogs are having a party nearby, hence the barking. Okay, let me start over for Diana. Woo. All right. I'm coming over to look at property and wanted to ask about asbestos and the regulations regarding renovating, removal, and use and if it's still manufactured and used in homes? This is a great question. We've never gotten this before. And thankfully, I had two superstars help me with the answers for this. So Cam talked about it from her personal experience because she is currently building a house. And she tore down one before she got started building the new one. And then also our newest colleague, Tamara, who started yesterday, helped with some of the research as well. So thank you to Cam and Tamara for helping me with this. Okay. So, asbestos has been prohibited since January 1st, 2005 via a European Parliament directive. This directive also explains that the use of asbestos containing products installed before that date are only allowed after their DE inventory or the end of their useful life. If a product contains asbestos is on the market, it must be specially labeled as well as the containers in which these products will be kept. Okay? So that's one part of it. What if you need to dispose of asbestos? Okay, this is what happened in Cam's situation because her family was tearing down an existing house that had asbestos in the tiles. If less than 200 kilos, owners can deliver construction waste containing asbestos generated by minor repairs or maintenance at their local recycling yard free of charge if the amount does not exceed 200 kilograms in a period of 6 consecutive months. Now, we have a list of all those recycling yards. So if you would like that, what do you got to do? Send us a DM. Okay. If it's more than 200 kilograms, it must be handed over to a legal entity that requires payment, that handles waste management activities, and is authorized to take over waste containing asbestos. So that's the answer, guys. You can also find more information on agrogeny. So if you would like the link on agrogeny regarding waste containing asbestos or the list of recycling yards, send us over a DM, all right? Okay. Fair Maiden has a question. The UK offers two types of criminal background checks, the basic and the enhanced, which has different costs. Would the basic suffice, or should I get the enhanced? You need to go with ACRO. You cannot go with DBS. So whatever ACRO offers, that's the one that you need to do. DBS will not be accepted. Thank you, Jane. Oh, hey, Jane. It's been a while. We've got another question up here. My father is Croatian. As a child, I had a Croatian passport, but I never renewed it. Has my citizenship then expired? No, citizenship does not expire. It doesn't expire. Now, let me clarify that, okay? So, citizenship itself does not expire. However, if you were a Yugoslav citizen and you never claimed your Croatian citizenship after Croatia got its independence, then yes, your citizenship has expired, so to speak. I mean, that's not really the right term that I would use. But they gave a grace period of time after independence for anyone who was Croatian ethnicity, but a Yugoslav citizen, to claim their Croatian citizenship. And if you did not do that by the end of that period, then that means you have to then apply for citizenship from scratch. Now, you'll get it. I mean, I shouldn't say that with any certainty. There's no certainty in Croatia. But you just have to apply for it. You apply for it no differently than someone who is the grandchild of a Croatian who left Croatia, if that makes sense. You apply based on Article 11 by descent, just like everybody else. But just because your passport is expired, that doesn't mean that your citizenship is expired. You just have to get a new passport. We do have a guide for how to apply for a new passport, so send us a DM and we'll be happy to send that over to you. Okay. All right, great. Let me see where we're at. I think we're on the last one. Yes, we are. This is from Jasminka. Jasminka? Jasminka, that's probably right. How did you decide where to live in Croatia? Now that we're completely in the dark, let's be a little bit intimate now. Okay, so when I first came to Croatia, it was 2011. I came here on holiday, and I spent 22 hours in Zagreb, 3.5 days in Split, 2 days on Hvar, and 2.5 days in Dubrovnik, although one of those days I spent in Montenegro, so maybe like a day and a half in Dubrovnik. And Split I liked the most. Zagreb was really dark and dreary, so for those 22 hours it was not super appealing at the time. Hvar's an island. And after seeing Split, Dubrovnik didn't really wow me. I was like, alright, I've seen this stuff. Trying to figure out how to light myself. So I came to Split. It's not too big, it's not too small. I love that I could walk everywhere. I love that you can walk along the sea pretty much the entire circumference of Split. I loved the old city, but I also loved that there are parts of the city that weren't the old city. It's hilly, but not too hilly. It's got the forest next to it. Like, it just, I don't know, it felt like it fit my vibe. And as long as I've stayed here, as long as I've been here now, 11 years, I still feel that way. I mean, I get a bit nervous because Split has changed a lot. I can't imagine how people who actually grew up here feel. Split has changed a lot, in some ways for the good, in some ways in the not so good. The tourism has gotten out of hand, and, you know, they're trying to do stuff about that, but still, like, there's just, you can't turn back time. Let's just put it that way. So, I can't say that I was really thorough in my research because I think partly it didn't matter. I was like, oh, Split's cool. How about I try that out? You know, I didn't do this like huge pro-con list. I wasn't like researching a bunch of countries in comparison to Croatia or even a bunch of cities in comparison to Split. I didn't care that much. I was just like, because I didn't even know how long I was going to be able to live in this country. I have no right to be here. I mean, now I do, but at the time I didn't. So how was I supposed to know if after 3 months they were going to be like, no, you got to go? That was totally a possibility that I had to be prepared for. So I had to come into it realizing that that I was temporary, I had no entitlement, and that I could be booted at any given time. So coming here to nest was not in the cards for me. So I figured if I came here and it didn't work out, it'd be a long vacation. But if it did, awesome. And then I could figure out what I wanted to do from there. And if this wasn't the right city, then I could move. And right now I'm kind of going through a little bit of I don't know what I'd call it. I wouldn't call it a quandary, but it has been on my mind. I love Split, and unfortunately I haven't gotten to see much of it the last 6 months because I've been traveling a whole lot. You know, so that's why for the first time in 10 years I'm not going to Istria for my usual November vacation, because I cannot pack another suitcase. I just can't do it, guys. I cannot do it. Some people love to travel all the time. That's not me. Maybe at one time it seemed appealing, but I don't dig it anymore. I really feel so grateful and privileged that I've been able to see all the places in Croatia this year that I've been able to see, and I love that. But I haven't gotten to spend much time here at home in the city that I really, really love. And there has been this kind of nagging thought, like, do I need to move to Zagreb for a period of time? Because I had to go up there like 5 times this year. And honestly, I should go up a 6th time, but like I said, I cannot pack another suitcase. So that's going to have to wait until the next calendar year. But honestly, when I came back from this last trip, I was like, I'm so glad to be home. I love this place. It just suits me. And not everybody, unfortunately, has that opportunity to find a place that suits them really nicely, you know, that just fits. And I feel very lucky that I'm one of those people. But this place fits me, at least for the moment. I don't know, maybe that'll change down the line, but I don't know. People in Split are crazy, and I'm crazy. And I can be just as crazy as I want. And that's what's really nice. So I'm officially in the dark now, guys. So I guess no more outdoor 5-question Fridays. I'm really bummed out about that. I was really enjoying being outside. But it's officially dark. So before I sign off, I'm going to just quickly show you what I'm looking at. All right? So this is split 3. This is the high school. Back behind those lights, that's the high school. That's split 3 over there, or the beginning of split 3. That's Lokve, which is another neighborhood nearby. So we're just kind of sitting here in an intersection. But that's it. So I'm going to walk back home now. Oh yeah, can't see me, can you? Ah! All right, so thank you so much for showing up for this nighttime edition of 5 Question Friday. I will be here. I'm going to be on vacation the next 3 weeks, which my out of office reply will tell you. But I will be here for 5 Question Friday every week. I'm not taking that off, so don't you worry about that. I'll be here next Friday, but indoors probably. If you have a question that you'd like to see answered, don't hesitate to ask. Send us a DM, drop a comment. I will post a replay, so if you're just joining, don't worry. You haven't missed anything. You'll be able to watch this from the beginning. That's it. That's it, guys. So thank you so much for being here. I really treasure these moments, and I hope that you have a wonderful... Oh, we've got one more question, and then I will go. All right, Steph asked, does Croatia plan to limit the number of temp residents or workers? Not at this time. We've seen no indication that they are planning to do that. They did limit the number of foreign workers. They had quotas a couple years back, but they got rid of those quotas, and now the lid is off. I think they had 80,000 workers, foreign workers, brought in this past year, and they need more because Croatia's got a labor shortage. There are tons of jobs. Croatians don't want to do them, so they got to bring in foreigners to do them. And I don't see them limiting the temporary residence programs either. There hasn't been any whiff of that. But if that changes, of course, we'll tell you. But we haven't seen any signs of that. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Love you so much. See you next Friday for another edition of 5 Question Friday. Ciao! Vedi lo sei?